This is a hunter-gatherer. It's clear because he has a bow and arrow. And for most of human existence, this is how humans lived. Then, thankfully, a few people began the agricultural revolution, which has led to medicine, art, increased wealth, entertainment, killing, and other stuff. Wait, so there are two Denny's, like right across the street from each other? So that's pretty much all good news, I'd say, with a little bit of not good news mixed in. But lately, some historians have begun to argue that this was all a big, huge scam, that hunter-gatherers lived lives that were far better than the ones we live today. Except for this guy. He knew it was a scam the whole time. In this episode, we'll examine a few of the reasons why hunter-gatherers may have lived lives better than us, even though right now I'm thinking it's pretty doubtful. The first thing to do is decide if we really want to go back to hunting-gathering times. Let's take a look and see what that would be like.
Suppose just for a moment that we didn't have our 6 million farms and ranches. Let's get rid of them. All of them. Okay? No more farms or ranches. Now, let's get rid of industry too. Then we won't have to worry about that.
So this is a problem. But being a hunter-gatherer, while extreme, does come with some perks. Let's focus our study on all the good things about being a hunter and gatherer. And then we'll take a look at this example and that example, and then... Free time is pretty much awesome. Time is cool and free is also cool, so it makes sense that both of them together would be cool. But it's also in pretty short supply. Let's look at how much people have to work in some different countries today. Wait, hunter-gatherers work just 2 hours a day? You know who else works just 2 hours a day? These guys. But hunter-gatherers didn't have to get taunted by kids. They just pretty much picked veggies and stuff like that. Agriculture pretty much invented the idea of patriarchy.
I can make my own living just as well as he can make his.
Wait, is that socio-cultural patriarchy or structural? Good question. Structural. You see, once upon a time, men hunted. They hunted things like ducks. Women, on the other hand, gathered. What did they gather? Nuts, berries, vegetables, and rumors. It happened here, 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 and here. Women had to gather due to the raising of children, so they couldn't go too far from home. But most evidence from hunting and gathering communities showed that women had just as much power as men.
In tribes such as the Iroquois and the Pueblo, the power structure was matrilineal, or centered around women in relation to property ownership. The woman could put her husband out of her dwelling whenever she wanted to, and he would then have to go home to his mother.
Why did women have this power? Because men usually sucked at hunting, while women consistently brought food to the table. Here's another thing. In small hunting tribes, women only had children about every 4 years. That gave them lots of time to work, helping with this whole equality thing. But then agriculture happened. Humans found seeds. What kind of seeds? Seeds like wheat, rice, corn, and other kinds that were pretty yummy too. They put all these seeds in the ground, and it wasn't just plants that grew, but also patriarchy. Some men were standing around quite lazily, and one of them said, "You know, I like this whole seed thing, but it kind of feels like gathering and stuff. So, what I guess I'm trying to say is, what are all of us men supposed to do?" This other guy said, "I know. Let's make the women stay at home, and we can do all the work." And this other guy was like, "I've got a better idea. let's just not tell the women about the seeds, and they can gather up all the new plants, thinking, oh, this is so easy, they're all just sitting here for us, and then us men can just hang out. But they decided that wouldn't fly and went with the first idea. Men do all the work. And then patriarchy was born.
Darling, it's our anniversary. Why so glum?
Nothing. Well, it's your coffee.
Again? Even today?
Honey, your coffee just doesn't taste any good.
So women stopped gathering. What did they do with all this extra time? The stable supply of food allowed them to have more kids. Children were born every 2 years on average, instead of 4. Men assumed most or all of the farming responsibilities, and thus women no longer provided for their families. They just took care of their husbands and stuff. This happened here, 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 and here. Trying to measure health is tricky. One simple measurement is lifespan. People in rich nations live to 80 on average, while people in poor ones only get to their 50s. How long did hunter-gatherers live? Probably longer than you might guess, usually to about 70. So, all of this modern medical infrastructure has bought us an additional 12 to 13% of life. That is, unless you factor in child mortality. A large historical sample shows that 46.2% of humans died before reaching adulthood in hunting-gathering societies. Or we could just say that humans are 170 times more likely to survive today than in the past. But there are other things to measure. During hunting-gathering times, men in the region of Turkey reached an average of 5 feet 9 inches. Hunter-gatherers tended to have a well-balanced diet.
Bread and butter or margarine, milk and cheese, meat and eggs, vegetables, and fruits. Those are the foods you should eat every day if you want to be healthy.
But when humans switched to agriculture, they relied on single crops. Let's take a look at some folks eating at a Neolithic restaurant. Here, a couple of people sit down and take a look at the menu. Oh my gosh, one of them says, I'm just not sure what to get. There's so many different choices. The other's like, yeah, I don't know either. Not only was this boring, but it was also really unhealthy. So, what happened to our 5 foot 9 inch man in Turkey? Deprived of balanced nutrition, he shrunk to 5 foot 3. And what's it like today? People in the region still haven't returned to their original heights, suggesting that hunter-gatherers had better diets than modern humans. And what about teeth?
Hello, everybody. How are you all? Would you like to learn how to have strong, healthy teeth?
It turns out that the best way to have healthy teeth is to be a hunter-gatherer. These folks usually had all their chompers when they died at, remember, about age 70. Dr. Alan Cooper said that hunter-gatherers had really good teeth, and he's from Australia. But humans adopted agriculture, and gum disease and cavities became normal. People in Mexico, relying upon sugar-rich corn in their diets, often lost their teeth by age 18. In 1960, about half of adults aged 65 to 74 had lost all their teeth. Processed flour and sugar that came into use with industry is probably most to blame. Bad industry. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and have learned why it's better to be a hunter-gatherer.